It doesn't bother me because I'm always competing to myself, for my horse. You know, so I go in there and I put together the best run I can put it together and do the best that horse can do, you know. And so I don't ever really think of it that way.
So here's our second horse of the night. This is Juarez Wiz, a 2002 Bay Stallion by Top Sale Wiz, who's another leading sire of Reining horses. His name is Trouble's Girl by Smart and Trouble, bred by Baum Lewis, and the rider is Tom Ferran.
Tom Ferran was a winner here a couple years ago, won his first world championship. This guy works real hard, shows a lot out there on the West Coast. He's from California, becoming a real good showman. He's done well with this horse in some other events.
Well, we just got word that Brent and Selshine matched their preliminary score of a 218, so that's not a bad way to get started.
Yeah, it's all right. You know, that's a respectable score. I look for somebody to probably top that tonight. You know, with this pattern, there's an extra maneuver. Like I said, it's got 4 stops in it, so that gives it, you know, more area to get more points. So you'll see somebody mark up there pretty good tonight, but that's a real good way to get things started. Tom's off to a good start. He's, like I say, he was clean through those first couple maneuvers. That's the name of the game. You know, be clean, but then go try and get your points for your horses. You know, where he's really strong at, get by where they're weak at.
This horse is really coming back to Tom. And what are some of the things that you're asking, both to ask for speed and then to come back and just do the slow?
Yeah, you know, you want those horses to run fast, but you still want it to look like it's very controlled. You know, any horse can just run fast around there in a circle, but we look for things as, you know, the shape of their body. Is the circle's really round? Is that horse running with his shoulders up, or is he just diving into the middle and, you know, the rider's trying to hold him up? You know, you want it to be a real pretty picture. You want that horse to stay on a good track around there, you know, make the circle symmetrical, and then when you get to the middle, you know, really coming back to that small slow. Just like you talked about earlier, you know, like the figure skating, you know, they work so hard on just taking that same exact track, you know, with those skates. We try and do the same thing. You want your circles to be very symmetrical, you know, but you know, that horse needs to show a lot of control while he's doing it. This horse is being real correct for him. He's getting his run put together pretty well. Good stop and roll back there, real correct. You know, horse didn't hesitate at all. Came through that roll back real clean. Now he's being real controlled again, getting around these ends. Have to run down hard there for another stop.
Now the horses really seem to build speed. How do you kind of build that into their training and get that put onto them?
Yeah, you know, when I talked about that earlier, that goes along with the mindset. You know, you got to teach a horse to run and be comfortable running and going fast just as much as you have to teach that horse to lope around there and be quiet. You know, so there's a lot of different aspects to training this horse. So that's something that we start from early on. You know, is be comfortable with that speed. You know, because we know that we're going to have to show them a lot at a faster speed, but then they have to want to come back and be real relaxed about it. This horse ran a real nice pattern for Tom. You know, showed some great control, but also did the maneuvers very clean. Did some real good maneuvers, ran very good circles. You know, I look for this to be, you know, from what I saw, I didn't see the whole entire run, but from what I saw, I think this should be a little bit higher score than our first run.
Yeah, it really looks like a nice example of a Top Sale Wiz that's going out and doing his job.
Yeah, Top Sale Wiz is a dang sure, you know, proving themselves in the range.
Hollywood then, fired by Hollywood Dunn, bred by Carolyn Kuka, Boulder, Colorado.
So the score for Tom Ferran and Juarez Wiz is a 219. So he sneaks in there just a little bit better than Brent and Selshine.
Yeah, and it just, you know, he just had some things that were a little cleaner than the first horse. But, you know, he had a few bobbles in there, too.
So now we're welcoming to the arena Patrice St. Onge and Mr. Hollywood Nick, a 2002 Bay Stallion by Hollywood Dunnett, who's a $5 million sire out of Nickelink, who's by Winter Nick. The breeder is Carolyn Kupka, and this horse is actually owned by Jack Point Court Horses in Austria.
There's that European influence again. You know,
absolutely.
I mean, there's a lot of it. We're seeing a lot more of a lot more owners. you know, coming from overseas. Really pretty horse by the great Hollywood Dunnett.